The ribbon has officially been cut on Gaylor Electric's facility along Indianapolis Avenue. The Love in Lebanon podcast goes on location to chat with company's CEO Chuck Goodrich. Learn about the building rehab effort and how Gaylor Electric is partnering with the ABC Prep Academy and with area schools to provide an opportunity for students. Episode 183 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 183 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. We are on location for episode 183. We are on Indianapolis Avenue. Big day, exciting day. Gaylor Electric is cutting the ribbon on their facility. Guys, we have watched this building just totally take shape over the last couple of years, from a white eyesore on our main thoroughfare until just the beautiful facility is now. We've got the Gaylor Electric CEO Chuck Goodrich joining us here on the pod. Chuck, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Joe, I really appreciate the invite. You know, today is an exciting day for Gaylor and for me personally. This is a kind of a dream come true as I traveled from Purdue to Indianapolis. And so I've been here and been thinking about this for a long time. So it's a very exciting day.
And for those of us who live here, Chuck, I got to tell you, it's been one of those things that every time you go by, if you're going out to the 4-H fairgrounds, you're coming back from I-65, you're checking the status of this building. Yeah. Has it been one of those same things, too, where you guys have been chomping at the bit for a good while to kind of get the ribbon cut, open the doors, and get this thing going?
Yeah, it really, with the ABC Prep Academy, it really revolved around school starting. So we knew we had to have it done. And yes, it's anticipation. It's excitement. It's the Gaylor Electric now has an operational facility in Lebanon, and we're going to actually change kids' lives and really change the world one person at a time.
Well, let's get into that if you don't mind. And everybody, if you're not familiar with Gaylor Electric, 3,000 or so employees, 15 offices in 7 states, just a magnificent company that continues to grow and thrive. And you guys are really helping out our young people as well. Not only that, but cultivating a workforce as well. Can you kind of talk about the ABC Academy? Because in a few minutes, everybody, it's going to be about an hour from now, the ribbon's going to be cut. Some folks from the school are going to be here. And this is an exciting time for our young people also, not just an electric company.
No, I totally agree. You know, really, when you look at our education and this applied learning, I have the fortune, I'm fortunate to represent House District 29 at the State House. I'm on the Education Committee. I'm on Ways and Means. And so I've watched this progress over the last 6 years on letting our kids have an experience in applied learning. And so, of course, we have had our own high school in Noblesville for quite some time, and we've just seen the passion. You know, when a student gets to take their learning, their STEM learning from a school and apply it, you can just watch the lights go on. It's just fantastic that these young folks are going to now be able to come out of high school. They can, they can go to college. And this gives them staying power because they have passion around what they're doing. They can go to work to the workforce, become any kind of trade, construction they would like. But I've watched it change. I've watched them have passion about it. I've watched them give them staying power. And most of all, it's lifelong and continuing education because they go right into the apprenticeship. Mm-hmm. They graduate apprenticeship with an associate's degree and no debt. I mean, this is life-changing.
And to see the smile on your face, and it's got to be gratifying to know that, 5, 6, 7, maybe a decade ago, years, that if you didn't go to college after high school, oh boy, that's too bad, that type of thing. But I don't know what has changed, whether it's been your leadership in state government or what, but being able to kind of turn that on its head, where some kids are built for 4 years, and that's awesome. Others go into trades, and that's great. Everyone has their own path, and you've seen that firsthand of that the happy kid, the smiles, and being able to get in the workforce, get a real paycheck, and get a skill, and become a real skilled tradesman.
When you think about students being really just absorbed with the thought of a purpose, that's really, 50% of our kids, roughly, I mean, these are rough numbers, but 50% of our kids would go to a 4-year or go to a post-education, and that's awesome, and 50% won't. And we got to make sure in Indiana, and Gaylor wants to make sure, and I'm sure the Lebanon and the city and Boone County all want to make sure that those other 50% have a place that they have a purpose for, and they can literally build America. And we continue to develop the industry. It has become tremendously technical versus what it was when I started in the business. And these kids are awesome. I mean, I always tell people this, and I tell a little story on my dad, but when I was younger, you didn't have to worry about having an applied learning experience. My dad made sure I had plenty.
You got to be able to fix a leaky faucet, be able to fix your car, all that stuff.
Everything. But he had to work on keeping me in school. Today, these kids are so intelligent. They love learning. They have all the information in the world right at their fingertips. Our responsibility is to make sure they have an application for it. And that's how this has revolved over the last 10, 15 years, because we went too far and said, hey, look, everybody has to go to college. I think we did go too far. What I want to do is get to the middle. I want to get back to the middle. Yeah. I want to say, hey, you have opportunities on both sides. You could go through apprenticeship school, graduate with an associate's, get your journeyman's card, and then continue on your education into a bachelor's. This is not one or the other. As Michael and I have always talked about, my chief values officer, it's and. And so we just want to meet kids where they're at. This building right here with the ABC Prep Academy is going to serve the student well. I mean, they're going to learn, the first year they come, they're going to learn all the construction trades. Then they can specialize. If they like, what, I love carpentry. And so these kids go into carpentry, they'll all be employed. We have full employment of these students when they graduate. So it's so exciting.
Man, everybody, we're listening to Chuck Goodrich. He's the Gaylor Electric CEO here on episode 183 of the Love and Lebanon podcast, on location on Indianapolis Avenue. Exciting ribbon cutting. Less than an hour away now, Chuck. Here we go. Yeah. How did this whole conversation, if we can back up just a little bit, how did this conversation happen between Gaylor and those schools around us, similar to the way you guys pulled it off in Noblesville, where it was a win for the area schools, and they want to get plugged in, they want to get kids in here and get them going?
Lebanon schools has been fantastic. I even go back to when Gaylor Electric did their addition and their superintendent school. I mean, they had a great construction program, and with with all the stuff that kind of went away, and they said, hey, we've got students. I remember driving through here. I have an opportunity to play at Uland Country Club a few times in my life, and I just love this area. The people, the work ethic, the passion for just being a small town that thrives in the middle of Indiana. That just continues to resonate with me, and knowing that these students, Lebanon schools have been hugely involved. I don't know all the other schools that'll come here, but we're hoping to build this thing where I have over 100 students, and so that's what we've been able to do over in Hamilton County. We know we can do it here, and I think the parents, I love parent choice. And when the parents get to start seeing what's happening and their kids are coming home, their students are coming home excited about going to school, they'll be like, what in the world? And that's what I'm excited about. And I really give tremendous credit to Lebanon Schools, the great organization, ABC, and the Education Trust. And then, of course, Gaylor being a big partner, Associated Builders and Contractors, just like many, thousands of members in between Indiana and Kentucky. And so, I'll tell you something else. The mayor has been awesome too. The city government. So it's kind of like utopian, man. We come here, we got these great parents, we got the great students. It's awesome.
I may pull that quote. I may put it on a bumper sticker. Just FYI, I love it. It's utopia, baby. There we go. Looking at this building and being able to see it before you guys transformed it, and that's putting it lightly, transformed it. Yeah. From where it was to what you guys have done has been absolutely amazing. Can you kind of talk us through the process of that? And I know we're going to probably take a tour as part of the ribbon cutting, take some pretty pictures and things like that, everybody. So I'll share them on the body of the podcast and the graphic I put together. But just the overall just kind of gutting of this place and everything inside, you guys have made it so much better.
Yeah, well, this building, it really comes to really play from Uland. A guy named Ed Droger has been, and his wife, they've been my friends forever, and the Joneses. Yeah. And Ed and I were talking about this Lebanon facility, the connector between Lafayette and Indianapolis, and all the stuff that's happening. And I do believe this is going to be the research highway. when the separation of IU and Purdue in Indianapolis, the research park at Purdue, pretty soon, and maybe not my lifetime, but in our students' lifetime, we see a connector. This could be called the Research Highway of Indiana. So I'm excited about that. But anyway, back to the point was the Joneses had this building, awesome people. I mean, just fantastic. They had used it as a warehouse for themselves. And, I love Lebanon schools. So we're like, hey, we're going to put a school here. We're going to start an office. And, it's cool because people that own something for a long time, since I don't know how long they owned it, but, this building was originally built in the early 70s.
Oh, yeah.
And when we started talking to her, her eyes, and they just lit up, and she's like, oh, my dad, we would love that. And so I seen her last night, actually. I seen her at an event, and she's like, I can't wait to come to the grand opening. So, yeah, it's just, hey, building architecture is different in the 70s. And we just moderned it to what it looks like today. It's beautiful. I mean, I got to tell you, it's exciting and beautiful.
It did look very 70s from the outside.
We had to cut off the fins,
Yeah, there's carpeting on the walls. No, I'm just kidding. And then you're not only just making it an awesome office space, looking around, and we're in a conference room it's state of the art, everybody, and then you look out and you see all the cubicle office spaces, but you guys have added even more as part of that ABC Academy. What goes into creating a school like the one that is here now, similar to the one that was in Noblesville you saw so much success with?
Yeah, that's just a great point, because it is difficult, but you can overcome it. Ever since I've been in the industry, they start talking about, well, you got to be 18. We busted that thing 20 years ago. We went to workers' comp. We met with the Department of Labor. We met with the Fed Department of Labor. We met with all those folks. Say, listen, I don't know where it came from that kids can't work in a place like this when they're 16 and go do stuff like the ABC Prep Academy and actually have this jobs. And so we found nothing except a few exceptions, like you can't be in a lift, you can't use a cutting tool, and that kind of thing. But we work around that because we know that changing the world one person at a time is how you actually change Indiana to be the greatest. And so when you think about just that process and how you build a relationship with Associated Builders and Contractors, thousands of apprentices, bringing them from high school, it's a little bit of the old vocational model, if you know what I'm saying there, but it's not. Because this is privately held, so it's all technology, all this stuff is what's happened back here is what companies today, like Shield Sexton. Shield Sexton's here. They have a little small office here. They feel the same way about Lebanon. Great partners of ours, and they leased a spot from us. And so it just takes the ability to sit down as business folks and put a deal together. And, it takes everybody, and I think it's going to be hugely successful for Lebanon.
And you're so right. It used to be like a prerequisite. Oh, I'm sorry, Johnny, you're only 16, you're only 17. Call us when you're 18. Yeah. We'll talk then. But if we're letting these kids decide their own futures, whether before you're or into the workforce, they may know earlier than 18, hey, I'm ready to work and kind of get the groundwork done so I can get into my passion, that type of thing. So it's great for you guys to be able to see that and then work towards a solution, being able to get the Jills and Johnnies in here at a younger age to be able to get some of those skills ahead of time.
Yeah, it's interesting because kids with the technology today are using their hand. It's an odd phenomenon, I believe, but kids are all using their hands now. Maybe not so much when I was in school, right? We were doing it, but they're using their hands on all the devices. Man, do they love looking at simulators of big equipment, of welding. It's just a big deal, and it gives that passion around. You know what? I got to tell you, when I graduate high school, I can't wait to go on. And that's really what we're looking for, right? Inspired Americans, inspired folks that want to come out and make our communities the best place they can live. We get into that idea of where we work and we serve, we want to make our communities better. That's Gaylor Electric. And so I want students to start feeling that way. I want students to be safe. I always tell people, God bless you, stay safe. But most of all, take care of one another. And that's what this is doing. I mean, when we do the grand opening, you see those students. They build bonds of relationships in this program. It's incredible.
And there's a love with it too. There's the old adage of you love what you do, you never work a day in your
Right,
life, that type of thing.
exactly.
It sounds like that's kind of what you guys are hoping to build here with the passion that they do, the excitement to work, and then that bond, that willingness to grow together with others to create that bond. Seems like that's what you kind of bottling up here at Gaylor.
I'm really excited about this example because I know that it's hugely scalable, right? And so what we want to do is have all these other great Indiana companies come along. When I listen to an education, and even I heard it yesterday, one of the hard things for this model is we have to have employers come along with the schools, but to make sure that all our students have these applied learning experiences for their diploma or certifications. Because, when you leave high school, you should have certifications and certificates that add value.
Yeah.
Makes
you more marketable, right? Makes you more marketable as an employee,
It makes you more
right?
marketable
Yeah.
for whatever. And I always continue to tell higher ed, this is not either or. This is keeping your students at their when they're going to school. It keeps the student there and they graduate because they have passion around what they're doing. They don't get there and change 4 times in their majors because they're like, this is what we want to do. So it helps. I believe it's assistant to everybody.
And I liken it to, we have what's called the Gene Haas Training Center here, a partnership with Vincennes. It's advanced manufacturing, CNC machining. I liken that to what this facility is. And briefly walking by, and I'm sure I'll get a deeper tour later, it looks very similar, where it's going to be very hands-on training like you're talking about, latest technology, and you have professionals there to look over the shoulder of those young people to really help kind of learn them in the proper ways before they get into the job site and before they go further in the training.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because when I think about Vincennes, I actually went to Vincennes before I went to Purdue, so I'm an associate, and I loved that school. And they are partnered with ABC Prep Academy.
Fantastic.
So this is really exciting because students, when they're 16 years old, start working for on-the-job training hours. They can actually, when they can actually take classes. As I said, Vincennes is a partner with ABC Prep Academy, partner with us too. I mean, we just love those guys. And so when you think about that associate's degree, when you get through your apprenticeship, I think it's, I may get this wrong, but it's 9 or 12 hours over 4 years that a journeyman has to take, and they graduate with their associates. And so this really starts that opportunity right here in Lebanon.
And how much were you, before this ribbon cutting, before the recording of this episode, chomping at the bit to get this thing open? Because I know you talked about it coinciding with the school year and things like that, wanting to kind of help out and do it, work on that school's timeline. How excited were the people that were looking through the glass earlier and the folks that put the mic on you? How excited were they to kind of chomp at the bit and get this thing open and get it open for kids to come in?
As I look out the window, you can see that's my education team.
Okay.
Most of them. And then my asset manager, which is in charge of building the building. And, of course, Ed Droger really helped us, too. He helped design, and it was really cool. But, I mean, it is such a culture in our organization. And if I was speaking to other businesses, if you want to change your business culture to a culture that says, we care about you, we love you, we're going to do whatever we can, bring a high school to your building. Because when you put those 16 to 18-year-olds in there, watch what happens to your other employees. They absorb them. They do Christmas with them. They do Thanksgiving with them. They build friendships and lasting long. And most of all, they build awesome mentorships. And, that's one of the things I tell, I have a lot of friends in my life that are mentor to my kids. And as you know, there are what you can do as a mentor for someone's student versus the dad or mom. It's a different mix. But I got to tell you, they develop with the teacher here. They develop with each other. They develop with the industry. And, one of the things I haven't mentioned, I think you'll love this. One of the things we have to continue to do in Indiana is keep our students here.
Oh, man.
Right.
Absolutely.
We are a great exporter of assets and people. We need our...
Graduate, we'll see you later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We need folks to stay here when they graduate college or when they graduate high school. And I truly believe this. And, I was fortunate to author House Bill 1001 last year and 1002 the year before, which all are about career scholarship accounts. This idea that we're going to give these kids a scholarship so they can go actually get a certification trade. And one of the things we know during all the testimony in those bills, and I knew too, is once you connect a student in a building like this to employers or to a school, so much bigger chance of them staying in Indiana. The Speaker of the House, Todd Houston's a great man, great friend, and he talks about, we don't have oceans and we don't have mountains, but what we do is we take care of people, we build things well here, and we grow things well here. And that in Boone County in Lebanon, that describes Lebanon perfectly.
And buddy, that is, fully transparent. That is such a great connection to I do community development for our city. And one of the things that we're working on and tasked with is endearing our young people to when they go off and wherever school is or wherever workforce, something happens within them where they got the warm and fuzzies of home, where when they meet that special someone and they're going to settle down, they come back to Boone County, they come back to Lebanon. That is such insightful thought on your part to be able to connect that, because that's exactly what we're doing as a community, trying to get these kids kind of understanding the love and respect that their fellow man has for them here in Lebanon. And it's so great that you guys are tapping into that.
Yeah,
here
actually,
at Gaylor Electric and beyond.
Now let's just take that just one step further. We want them to come to Gaylor Electric. We want them to stay in Indiana. We want them to come to Gaylor Electric too. Now, the education system is not about come to Gaylor Electric, but we love on those kids too, because we also know that once they're connected to us, they stay. And so it's really just a 360-degree approach, local with state and businesses, making sure that they take care of these students. And that's why I continue to encourage our businesses across the state of Indiana, get involved. Look, schools and businesses speak like different language. They do.
It's almost adversarial too, where it's like it's us versus them type thing.
I never, I've not felt like we're in an adversarial relationship, but what I have felt like is they just speak. I'll give you an example. 15, 20 years ago, we were doing this thing in Noblesville we called Vision Noblesville. We were doing the exact same things you're talking about. And one of the teachers said, "I don't understand why businesses never come to school." And I said, "Well, I don't understand why schools never ask us to come to the business, because businesses don't go where they're not wanted."
Yeah, exactly.
And so it was so funny. It's just a light poof right
Light
there.
bulb.
Like, it's just this different language. And so, look, businesses need to get involved. It's time for them to stand up. Let's make Indiana continue to be great. And the way we do that is we have to give our kids an applied learning experience. The laws have all been shifted so you can do it. Give them an awesome experience, connect them to Indiana. What's great about the people here, how awesome our families and our parents and all those things are, safety, all the things you need as an adult. Let's get them to stay here.
Oh, that sounds like an awesome plan. You guys, can you hear the excitement in Chuck's voice and his answers here? This is Chuck Goodrich, Gaylor Electric CEO, here in episode 183 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. Okay, Chuck, as we round the last lap here, people are going to see some awesome pictures. They're going to see the happy ribbon cuttings. They're going to see the statues with the blue hard hat gentleman out front. It's an eye catcher. It's a beautiful building. And they're going to say, "I want to see it for myself. I want to. Where can I get more information about this?" I know some of the groundwork may be that collaboration with the schools, getting buttoned up and things like that to get kids in the door and things like that. Where can people get more information and kind of harness into the passion that you've shared in this podcast to be able to kind of either learn more for themselves or for their loved ones here at Gaylor Electric or the ABC Academy, both and?
No, I actually, that is the question, right? Because again, people want to get involved. Sometimes there's obstacles in front. I say clear out those obstacles, because really you can contact Gaylor Electric. You can contact AB, Associated Builders and Contractors of Indiana, Kentucky, headquartered right there on Shadeland and on 465. You can contact Lebanon schools. You can you can connect from any school. They all know how to connect with us. And Gaylor does not mind being the bridge between the schools and the community. We love that, and that's why we have an entire education team called Gaylor University, headed up by a lot of folks that are from public schools, headed up by some college. We know that the only reason Gaylor is so successful is because of our people. It's we have intentional purpose for every individual at Gaylor Electric. And so this Gaylor University group, this education team, I think like 60, 80,000 hours last year on educating our own employees. I mean, think about that. That's a tremendous investment. But as you know, corporations get better as their people get better. So to answer the question, Lebanon schools right now, Gaylor University, Jeff Bryant is our director of Gaylor University. Hey, look, I got to know, but Ed Droger is awesome here, lives right here in Uland. So, if you happen to know him, he's good. But contact ABC. I mean, it's incredible.
So you're saying it's not a secret?
It's not a secret. No. Matter of fact, we don't hide anything. We actually even work a lot with our competitors, because I do believe that what we need to do and what continues to make our industry successful is Gaylor Electric spends an absorbent amount of energy making the industry successful, so that we as an entrepreneur company can be successful. If there's no industry, there's no Gaylor Electric. And so it's really cool. And so, yeah, anything, if people want to come up and look at it, go build one in your shop. It's awesome.
And the rising tide, lifting all boats type thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Chuck, thanks so much for being here on the podcast. Really appreciate it. Best of luck to you and Gaylor. This is going to be a tremendous partnership with our community and you guys. Thanks for taking the time before the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great day for us.
Absolutely. And thank you everybody for listening to this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast. I'll put more information about Gaylor Electric, all the information that Chuck was talking about in the body of this podcast. So clickable links, all that stuff, some pretty pictures. I'm going to take them here in just a second and put them up for you as well. More episodes coming your way soon. Take care.